The Gourmet Gladiator. Chapter 11 Toby vs. Everyone finale. The night was boring and Roxy didn't show up with a sleeping bag. So I leaned against the fence and slept as the others eyed me the entire night. As I woke up in the morning, Roxy was in front of me snoring. I sat up and she was holding in her hands a pillow and a grey blanket. I'm guessing that was for me, but I was asleep. So she waited to hand it to me. What a strange girl. I take the blanket from her and cover her with it before leaving. I'll be back later. After all, I do have business to deal with at school today. I step out of the construction site and begin to walk towards the school. I'll be a little late, it's whatever. When I get there, nothing will be good. Everything has changed so much since yesterday. But the important bit is that I got Roxy's power before I left. This power in the reverse side of things will tear down whoever stands in my way. A sphere of light appears in the palm of my hand as I walk down the middle of the walkway. The sphere of light became a sphere of darkness with smoke coiling around it. I throw it at the ground in front of me and the cement instantly turns to molten magma. Looks like Roxy is hiding the way that she became the top dog of that place. That's fine with me. Everyone has a secret. Asterisk asterisk. After about 2 or more hours of walking, I step in front of the front doors of the school. I arrived just in time for the other students who came by bus to arrive. It was that early in the morning, I guess. I looked up in the sky and saw that the sun was just rising. Damn, no wonder why it was so dark. I walked inside and just as I did, I saw Rebecca and George stepping off of the bus. The students come in and rush inside of the school. It is just a half hour before classes start. So I guess no better time to make a scene and leave. I walk my way through the crowd absorbing powers. This time I'm not going easy. I'll burn him to the ground along with his entire school if I have to. George and Rebecca were talking to one another just a couple feet away from me now. I heard her saying, "Yeah, yesterday was quite wild for me. I can't believe he couldn't stop fighting for just one day." George smiles as he nervously says, "Yeah, that rich snob doesn't know the world limit if it slaps him across the face." My hand glows hot, blistering orange. They both look at me in shock as I step in between them. Without a word, I slap George across the face and launch him a couple of feet to the right. I state, "Looks like the word limit is coming to show you the definition. As in that you're about to see the limit of your potential." Glowing hot blades emerge out of my knuckles as I clench my fist. George looks at me with his singed face. He growls as steel nails emerge from his skin. He angrily states, "I'm going to make you wish you never came back to school." He runs at me and my heart and feet begin to flutter. I run towards him with light particles floating around me. I throw the first punch and George expertly ducks underneath and sends his fist into my gut. The nails on his knuckle pierce my skin, but the light particle heals me faster than I could comprehend that I just got stabbed. I swing down with my fist and send my blades into his left shoulder. He screams out in pain as his skin burns. I take out my blades and send my knee into his face. He stumbles backwards. Rebecca shouts, "Toby, stop." Too bad, I don't care. Flames twirl at the tips of my blades. I'll burn this fool and the entire school alive. I take this moment to grab his hair and bend him down. I send my knee back into his face, cracking his nose. Holding his head down, I keep bringing my knee into his face. I saw droplets of blood falling on the floor. Rebecca grabs a hold of my neck and begins to pull me away from George. I turn around and shove her away from me. I shout out, "Ugh!" George stabs me in my back. I turn around and crack. Rebecca made a hammer and broke my knee. George strikes my face and suddenly stars fill my vision. He knocks my head right and left, sending blood all over the floor. Thanks to the particles of light, I was healing faster than I could be knocked out. My knee heals up and I stand and strike out at George. Rebecca's hammer strikes my ribs. George sidesteps and evades my blades before countering with his fist. He strikes my neck and just like that I'm back down on my knees. Hell no, my body erupts in flames as blades begin to erupt out of my arms. I stand up and launch a stream of flames that darken as they swirl towards George. The light particles become a black and merge together to become a large black crystal. George jumps out of the way of my attack. Rebecca pulls out a fire extinguisher and blasts it at me. The white mist is nothing to me as my flames just become black and burn hotter than before. Now I show them all of the powers that I just borrowed from the entire school. I shoot the flames up towards the roof only for the giant stream of flames to crystallize. Then as my muscles bulge, I took the pillar of crystal black flames and swung it down towards Rebecca. George pushes her out of the way and bam! I crush him underneath the pillar. I walk towards him and in the corner of my eye I see Rebecca crying. George looks at me and quivers in pain. I kick the pillar off of him as I stare into his eyes. Brack and the other teachers come out and surround me. But they do nothing. They all clearly see that if they do I would win. I take a deep breath and upon exhaling the flames go out and the blades recede. I was standing there nearly naked with only bits of my underwear protecting me from blinding the teachers. Mr. Kingsling steps forward and in a monotone voice he says, "Toby, what happened here?" I look at him and with the same energy I say, "I was just so mad. Please can I talk to the principal? I think we need to talk about my behavior." Even Mr. Kingsling looked surprised by what I said. He walks beside me and follows me as we walk towards the principal's office. As I sit in the principal's office I wait and sit in a chair alongside Mr. Kingsling. He looks over towards me and asks, "So what is happening, Toby? I know I'm not the most empathetic teacher, but you need to tell me if something is wrong." I look down at the ground. I begin to think of so many responses I could give him just to cut him from talking to me. Instead I simply take a breath and say, "Even you said that I wouldn't be able to become top chef. It's fine now since I know I have the power. But before that I thought day and night about killing myself. I was so depressed and people like George would bully me non-stop and then you just added it alongside what they did. I'm only 16 and right now I am emotionally unstable. When I got these powers I realized that I had what it took to stop everything that was bad in my life. So what you saw was an attempt to do that." A tear falls down my cheek. No one respected Fat Toby. Not even his own parents. But this me, people love and cherish this me. You wouldn't understand the feeling even though you're a genius. Mr. Kingsling looked at me and the expression on his face was confusing. He says, "Toby, you're still fat. Nothing has changed besides what you're doing. Only you can make a difference in your life and what you're doing now is destroying it. I'm afraid to say this but the odds of your being expelled are around 99%. And you're not that lucky to escape those odds. Cyril just jumped straight to the point. You assaulted your classmates and nearly committed arson. And no sob story is going to save you. Just own up to your punishment and try again in another school." That's all I can say. I stand up and walk out of the principal's office. I head out of the building and begin to make my way towards where I first met the icebreakers. Sure, it's in front of my house, but what more can be said? I'm just going to join him and end this silliness. I now know what Helios meant by dropping all of this childish nonsense. The day was beginning to brighten as the sun was out. I was in front of my house, alongside me was Helios. He was smiling upon seeing me. I was happy to see him too. Now that I stood in front of him I was excited to join him. Helios throws his arm over my shoulder and cheerfully says, "Sir, I heard what you have done from the arguing of your mom and pops. So you ran away and now you're sleeping somewhere else. Good for you. But now with that out of the way I'll let you join once you get control of that ability of yours. I'll give you 2 years. On your 18th birthday I'll arrive and with your power we will control this city. Just make sure you don't kill nobody." He takes his arm off of me and begins to walk away without a word from me. I walk up to him and say, "Okay, but in the meantime I'll need you to leave the abandoned construction site alone. That's where I will be sleeping for the next 2 years. Helios chuckles before walking up to me. For some reason I was intimidated. His face goes from joking to serious as he says, "You better not attach childish feelings for the place. Otherwise I don't have a problem freezing the place along with you in it. In the meantime I'll make sure this city is on lockdown. And from this day on you're my bitch. You leave this city you better have enough power to take on 100 men. So don't get cocky." He pulls out a gun and puts it to my forehead. The clip was glowing. This meant that the bullets had to be specially made to take out people with powers. Oh, and a little warning for the road. You think about doing what you did the first time we met. I'll not just kill you. He points the gun at my parents' door. I'll kill all those you know. including those bums at the construction site. He puts the gun away and walks past me. I'll make sure no one can mess with me. I head towards the construction site. Roxy just got an interesting investment. Zensilariku. I like the ending of.
That was chapter 11, Toby versus Everyone finale. This one had an interesting end to it. Sorry. Please like, subscribe, and I'll probably see you in the next video. Have a good one.